Doctors in Australia removed a 3-inch-long parasitic worm from a woman's brain in what is considered the first ever case discovered on humans. Deveh Suarez reports.
A 64-year-old woman from New South Wales was sent to the hospital for brain surgery after doctors found abnormalities that required urgent operation. The doctors, however, were not prepared for the unexpected discovery they were about to make while the patient was at the operating table. The neurosurgeon who handled the patient said the 8-centimeter long parasitic roundworm was still alive and wriggling after they had extracted it from the woman's brain. The startling discovery made the experts rush to find out what precisely the parasite was. Results from molecular tests showed it was a roundworm usually found in pythons. Doctors and experts believe a carpet python spread might have shed the parasite eggs through its feces and spread it onto grass and plants touched by the patient. The journey towards discovering the roundworm started when the woman was admitted to a local hospital in January 2021 after complaining of stomach pains and diarrhea, followed by constant dry cough, fever, and night sweats. Her symptoms elevated to forgetfulness and depression in less than a year. In June 2022, she underwent a biopsy, and doctors suggested conducting urgent surgery after a scan revealed abnormalities, leading to the discovery of the parasite. An expert based at Australian National University said the patient still needs to be treated for other larvae that might have invaded other parts of her body, such as her lungs and liver. Reporting from New South Wales, this is Deveh Suarez, SMNI News, Australia.
In Colombia, thousands of demonstrators took to the streets to protest the drastic rise in gas prices, which went up by a whopping 50%. Margaret Parcasio files this report.
Earlier this week, hundreds of motorists and drivers from the transport sector flooded the streets of Bogota, rallying against the surging gasoline prices in the country. Trucks, other freight vehicles, and motorcycles converge, leading to roadblocks and an assembly in front of Bogota's Ministry of Transportation, with drivers demanding negotiation with the government, as captured in the footage. According to media reports, protesters, including representative groups of vehicle users and transport workers, expressed their discontent with the frequent increase in gasoline prices, which has significantly impacted their sectors. The country's truckers' union have been leading the call for a national march to address the high cost of gasoline and its continuing rise. The increase in fuel prices have been reportedly implemented to address a deficit in the fuel fund. The deficit amounts to 37 trillion Colombian pesos, or $8.9 million, and efforts are being made to reduce it to 17 trillion pesos, or $4.1 million. A periodic increase have been implemented for fuel, initially of 200 pesos and later of 600 pesos per month to reduce the deficit. While diesel prices have not experienced the same increase as gasoline, concerns have been raised that a similar price hike might affect diesel in the future. Protesters fear that such an increase could have a detrimental impact on their work and livelihoods. This is Margaret Parcasio reporting, SMNI News.
Meanwhile, Russian Wagner chief Yevgeny Prigozhin has been laid to rest in a cemetery in St. Petersburg, Russia. And now that he's gone, who will lead the paramilitary group Wagner? Berhil Parba has the details.
Wagner chief Yevgeny Prigozhin, known for his loud, brash and posh action, had a somber funeral ceremony held behind closed doors, with only close relatives and friends in attendance. The Kremlin earlier said that Russian President Vladimir Putin is not supposed to attend regardless of what arrangements were made. Prigozhin has been laid to rest at the Poruskaya Cemetery in St. Petersburg. Images circulating on social media suggest that Prigozhin has been buried alongside his father, and flags of Wagner and the Russian Federation were flown at his tomb. Prigozhin was killed alongside of some of his elite officials after his private jet crashed in Russia's Deveh region last Wednesday. Prigozhin died along with his close associates, including Dmitry Utkin, who was believed to be the co-founder of Wagner, and Valery Shekalov, the non-military logistics chief of Wagner. The Russian Investigative Committee is currently investigating the cause of the plane crash. Aside from being a mercenary boss, Prigozhin is known to be a restaurateur and caterer who led state contracts in the early 2000s, and his companies eventually became suppliers to the military and the education sectors of Russia. Recent speculations emerged on what will become of the Wagner paramilitary group now that Prigozhin and his close associates are gone. Last week, Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko said Wagner forces currently in his country would continue to operate. A Wall Street Journal report said that Russian intelligence chief Andrei Averyanov is expected to take over Wagner's operation in Africa, as reported by Wall Street Journal. Averyanov apparently has a media reputation for allegedly eliminating the dissidents of Putin. He is the head of the covert operations unit in Russia's military intelligence service and has met several African leaders during the Russia-African summit. This event also marked Prigozhin's first public appearance after leading a short-lived mutiny against the top military brass of Russia. Reporting this has been Verhil Parba.
Drones have launched an assault on Pskov Airport situated near the NATO border, Sigrid Castañeda reports.
A swarm of drones targeted Pskov Airport, located near the NATO territories of Estonia and Latvia. The attack prompted air defenses to respond, causing an explosion that lit up the night sky, as captured in videos circulating on social media. Governor Mikhail Vedernikov confirmed that the Russian military was countering the drone assault. There are no reported casualties, but authorities are assessing property damage. As precaution, the region's airspace was temporarily closed, and flights from Pskov Airport for August 30 were cancelled to evaluate potential runway damage. While emergency services reported damage to 4 Il-76 transport planes on the ground, the Russian military has yet to confirm this. Multiple sources claimed that over a dozen drones targeted the airport, with air defenses engaging additional unmanned aerial vehicles or UAVs. Reports suggest around 15 Ukrainian drones were responsible for the attack, intercepted and shut down by Russian forces. The incident caused a crash or explosion at the airport, but no casualties were recorded. The attack's geopolitical significance is underscored by Pskov's proximity to NATO members Estonia and Latvia. The city is 30 kilometers from Estonian border and 60 kilometers southwest of Latvia. The drones likely passed over eastern Belarus if launched from Ukraine. This event follows previous drone-related tensions, with Ukraine using drones against Russian assets. The Kremlin dismissed these attacks as desperate distractions from the situation in Kyiv and claimed that their counteroffensive was failing. Reporting this has been Sigrid Castañeda, SMNI News.